Hello and welcome back to a new video. The system we want to take a look at is the AEC materials. AEC, of course, if you don't know, stands for Architecture, Engineering and Construction. So by that, I mean any element, a wall, a ceiling, a floor, doors, like imagine having hundreds of doors in your project. You definitely don't want to select the elements that you want to update manually like this. So you will not do this. Maybe you want if you're crazy enough, but in most scenarios, imagine you have a project like so, and you want to change all the materials on the project with a couple of clicks. So now if you click on customize and I click on walls, as you can see, all these walls are being changed. And the way we set this up is actually very easy. So let's open our template here to take a look at what's happening. So there are a couple of steps that we need to do to set up our system. Now, out of the box, we have this template here with 4 materials, 2 materials, an example list, so we can build good understanding of the system. So let's select our first person character and move to the next room where we have our AEC materials. And let's take a look here. So you can read this or you can watch this video. Now, when we select these objects here, these boxes has the tag walls. So if you search in the mesh here for tag, you're going to find under actor, under tags, we're gonna find the tag walls. So if I select these and I delete the tag and I click on play and then let's customize this, as you can see, nothing is going to happen. So when you have objects, as many objects as you want, these objects must have the tag or the target tag that you want to change. So in this scenario, it will be walls. So first, I don't know, like you may have noticed this, we didn't have the ability to add an element. Sometimes that may happen because we have these objects here. So sometimes, now this is one of the downsides of such system is that when you select objects and let's say one of these objects has a tag, so let's say like tag whatever this is, and you select many objects, you will not be able to add a new element because they should all have the same tags. Now, I hope Epic improves this in future, but for now, you want to be careful when you assign tags. And for me, when I assign tags, I put the objects in their own folder, or I group them, or I put them in their own layer, so I can distinguish which tags they have. And speaking of layers, you can go to Window, you can open layers here, and then you can right-click, create an empty layer, then add selected actors to the new layer here, or basically the layer we've created. So let's delete this layer, right click, add selected actors to selected layers. So when I add a tag on an object like so, I would right click here, this layer, and I would rename it and I'll say like walls with tag or objects with tag walls. I don't use tags a lot except for a couple of systems, and that's how I distinguish between selected objects and their tags. Okay. Once we added the tag walls, we can easily now change the material on these objects, as you can see here. Nice. Now let me remove the extra boxes because we don't need them. So that's the first piece of the puzzle, adding the tag, but of course there were setup that went before this. So let's take a look at that setup. I'm going to my systems here, so let's go to blueprints, systems. Here you can see AEC _ maths library. So let's open this, and here you will see this empty actor. So to find that system, you can select this empty actor and press on Ctrl B, and this actor here is just empty. It has nothing to do. It's just empty actor, so we can locate the system here. If you don't want to navigate between folders, you can go here and press Ctrl B, and that will locate the folder for you. Now, here we have a couple of folders. The most important folder is the data tables, and we have the blueprint widget here. So let's start with the blueprint widget. Let's open this and let's make this on a large view like so. Here we have our widget setup. So if you don't have experience with widget blueprint, don't worry because this is here very simple. What we have is the following. We have a scroll box. So if you click on it, you're gonna see the green border here, and this is where we can scroll up and down, if you have multiple lists, multiple objects and so on, you can scroll down. So that's a scroll box. And after that, we have a text and a list. We have a border and then a text and a list and then a border again, text, list, and then a border again, and so on. Let's say you want a fourth list to your list. What would you do is select the border, press Ctrl D, place it under the list here, then select this here, this list and this list, or the text and the list, press Ctrl C, select the border and press Ctrl V. Well, we need to do it under the border, so another way to do it, select the scroll box here and press Ctrl V, and it will place it at the very end, okay? And now we can see this line here where we can scroll if we click on play. Now, if we click on the first element in our list, this is a simple text. So maybe you want to name this to something like exterior walls, okay? Or interior walls and so on. So this list now is related to exterior walls because it's under this element. And here on any list you select, you have two elements. You have first the tag of the objects that you want to update their material, and then you have the database or the data table of the materials that will appear inside the list. It's that simple. Now, the tags is the exact same tag we set earlier, walls. So if you want for this to be just exterior walls, then you would name this here to something like exterior walls. And now you would copy this tag to the objects here or to your actual exterior walls, and you would search for tag, go to tags, index 0 or index whatever, set the tag to be exterior walls. That's one. Two, you have data tables, and this will make your system here scalable. So remember, we said if you go to the folder, you're gonna have the widget blueprint and you have a folder called data tables. Important one. So if you click here, you will find two data tables as examples where you can expand your material library on. So right now we have walls and floors. If you open walls, you will find 4 materials similar to what we saw earlier. We had 4 elements that we can choose, and here are these 4 elements. So we have on any of these elements the ability to set a material name. We have the ability to set a material thumbnail. We have, of course, the most important element is set the material instance, and then the material IDs of the objects that we want to affect. So sometimes you may have a wall with 2 material IDs, one material ID for the interior and one material ID for the exterior, similar to what I have here. So here some of these wall elements I have multiple material IDs, 3 actually. And if I decide to go to the interior here and assign this material here, it's affecting only the interior, not the exterior. So in this case, this is element 2, because here we start element 0, 1, and 2. So if I want to affect the interior here, then in my setup, I would go to my data table and I would make sure that I either have just one ID for the interior walls or the exterior walls, depending on your setup, or multiple material IDs, because let's say maybe I want to affect all material IDs in my object here, then I would add 3 material IDs. Let's say I want to affect just one of these elements, let's say element 1, then I would add just 1 element. If I want to affect 2, then we would add 2, just like you saw. So if you want to affect element 0, you would leave element 0. If you want to affect element 1, you would set this to 1. If you want to affect element 2, you would set this to 2. If you want element 40, then element 40 or material ID 40. And if you want to delete any of these IDs, you click here and you click on delete. So to show you this in action on this project here, what I'm going to do, for example, let's click on play and let's click on teleport. Let's see if I have any of the interiors. So I have rooftop. Perhaps I can select this teleportation point and I would click on, let's say this floor here, rooftop is fine. And let's say it has 1 element. And right now it does not have any tag. So it has the tags that we import from 3ds Max using DataMath. These component tags, they don't matter. What matters is the tags under the actor, okay? Keep that in mind. Right now we have the tag collision and this is doing nothing, so I can delete it. And let's say I want for this to be the floors. So let's search for our object. I'm going to find my system. So blueprints, systems, AEC material library, and here I will click on my materials here, and interior floors, this is saying floor interior. Let's say this is simply just floor. Okay, now I would select my object, search for tag, go to actor, go to tags, go to here to add a new tag, and let's say this is floor. Now when I click on play, let's teleport to the ceiling. So I'm going to click on teleport, and I'm gonna teleport to the rooftop. I will click on customize, and now I can set the material here. And if I want to add another material, because right now we have only 2 materials, then click here, click on floors, and let's add a new row to our data table. Let's say this is material 3, and let's say it has any of these material options we have. So let me find this, and let's say this will be black. So let's assign this here, and we need to find a texture or create a texture similar to what we learned in the past, where we can assign a black material. So I don't think it's a good practice to assign high quality textures like this. This is 1024, 1024. We may need to create a duplicate of this, then click on resize. So if you right click, you can go to texture source, reduce size, and then reduce this and just name it UI texture. Okay, but for now, I will quickly assign this here just to show you. So now I'm going to click on play, and let's teleport to the roof. So I'm going to click on rooftop, click on customize. As you can see now we have material 3. That's it. You can add as many materials as you want. You can set their names, their settings, their material IDs. And if you want to test this on an interior wall, we can also do that. So let me quickly grab this. I will create a copy, and I will just move it here, place it on the floor. So let's just make sure this is sitting on the floor, slightly up, no problem. Once you place them on the floor, you can create as many duplicates as you want, no problem. Now for this wall here, let's make sure it says walls, nice. And in the data table, let's open that. And let's say this blue grid will affect material ID number 2. And the rest will not affect it. Or we can select all of them. So let's say it will affect the interior and the exterior, no problem. Okay, so now let's click on play, and let's click on teleport. Let's teleport to the point we've just created, and let's go to customize. And now, as you can see, all interior walls are being also affected because they have the material ID too. Okay, so that's it for this system. If you have any questions, any suggestions, any ideas, please let me know. As always, I hope you found this useful. Thank you so much for watching. Stay hydrated, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.